Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is college football week 16 opening lines championship week.
Yes, sir.
We finally got here. Not going to lie, this has been a long season.
Yeah, I feel like, and I don't know if I made this analogy last week or a couple weeks ago, but I feel like this is like my third helping at Thanksgiving, to where
Yes.
I know I'm going to like it, but I think I really don't want anymore after this.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. It has been a really long season just trying to keep up.
That's it.
With everything. The news is constant. And that's what's made this season a little more tiring than usual.
Today, we record this on Sundays.
Whew.
Today, the amount of teams that are just saying, we know our season's over, we're not going to a bowl game, we're sending our players home to see their families.
Yes.
It's like these guys, the gates have opened, and they're all getting let out of prison.
And there's firings, right? A ton of them.
We got a couple
about
of
that
those
in a minute.
guys.
There's all that. There's teams not going to bowl games. There's teams that are going to bowl games. Bowl games are not being announced all at the same time.
Oh, no. One team will get announced, and then 4 days later they'll announce their opponent.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's just – we
wreck.
call this time silly season for the coaching, the transfer portal stuff, and the coaching carousel that's going to go on. But we kind of have a new level of silly with the bowl games. Normally, the bowl games are not silly.
No, you're right.
And this year, it's silly season.
It is silly. There is no what's the word? Requirement. There's no win requirement for bowl games. There's only 30-some-odd bowl games. There might be more canceled depending on who actually wants to go to a game and who doesn't.
That's right.
Things are going to be more regionalized, or at least they're going to try to. It's going to be insane. It's going to be nuts. But we do still have 1 week left. Before we get started with that, go ahead and tell you, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. That is your one-stop shop. Make sure you go over there and check out all the different articles on all the different games coming up this weekend. We're trying to get you some cash checks, right? That we're trying to get all this stuff to where you can win your bets. We haven't been very good at that lately. But I'll tell you what, those guys, they know their stuff.
That's right.
We felt like we knew our stuff.
Nah, listen.
But, that's the way it goes some years.
I'm just talking monkey.
Things switch very quickly in this sport. But those guys know what they're talking about. They will dive into all these games, and they're really good at what they do. So go and check it out, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. You can also go ahead and do us a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, so that way you can catch up with us every single time we go live, every single time we put out a new video. We're going to have a different video for every single bowl game.
Yes.
It's going to be crazy. They're going to come out at weird times, but we're going to have one for every single one of them. And then, of course, make sure and comment and tell us what you like about the video, what you don't, what lines you like this week. We would love to hear that. There's not as many games this week, thank goodness, but there are very interesting ones. I mean, it's championship week, man. We got stuff from Thursday night all the way through Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can also, again, we're not going to talk about every single game. We are going to talk about all the championship games, but we're not going to hit every game. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And we will respond to you as often as humanly possible and let you know how we lean on a game, whether we like the game or not, why we would bet, why we wouldn't bet, whatever. We'll tell you what we think. It may not always be right, but we'll at least let you know. We'll tell you what we're thinking. All right. Let's do the Week 15 recap right quick. And the first thing on here, Florida threw a shoe and threw away their playoff chances, which is kind of absurd because you've got the ACC who decided to cancel games last week. I understand Dan Mullen is a whiner. We all get that. I understand that. But he was not wrong when he said that maybe we shouldn't have played this game because it seems like the teams that aren't playing are getting rewarded for not playing.
Bingo.
It's 100% right.
He is right.
But this game against LSU is a prime example of why games being played matters. You never know what's going to happen in these games.
Right.
So the less games that you play, the less risk you have of actually getting beat. We see it in the NFL all the time.
All the time. Yes.
The Chiefs have a loss.
That's right.
Patrick Mahomes has a loss.
Yeah.
If he only played 6 games, you think he'd have a loss?
No, he wouldn't. No.
My point exactly. It's just ridiculous. So either way, the Florida LSU game, I want you to gloat a little bit. I want you to smile.
I don't have anything to gloat about. I am happy. I was very, very happy.
I'll tell you this.
They played hard.
Your boys needed this one.
No, I needed this one.
Yeah.
Oh, Yeah, they did need this one, and I think it felt good.
It's been a rough year.
Felt good.
It's been a rough year for the Bayou Bengals.
I'll tell you this: I was at a point where I was happy with the moral victory of, hey, we're keeping this thing.
We kept it close.
We're keeping it close. Like, let's not get ran over in the second half. We got a lead going into halftime.
What was your thought when he threw the shoe?
So I didn't see the shoe throw. I don't think the camera caught it in live action play.
It caught. So if you rewound it, like I rewound it because I said, what did he just throw?
No,
because I could see something.
I just saw the play call. I saw we needed 9 yards and we threw the ball 4 yards. That was kind of how we were most of the second half. Not a lot of first downs. Everybody crossed the sticks but one guy. That's the guy we threw to. Pissed me off. But anyway, I was trying to not be too upset, but I was annoyed. And then I saw the flag and I was like, well, I didn't see pass interference. So like it looked like a pretty clean tackle. Like, is this going to be holding? I mean, I'm trying to figure out in my head what all this is going on. And then when the ref said personal foul, he threw the shoe 20 yards. He gave me a distance. He gave me a down and a distance. I like it.
One of the best referee calls I've ever heard in my life.
It's going to go down as a classic. I immediately didn't know how the game was going to end.
What was the other referee call that was like
he gave him the
unsportsmanlike conduct for giving him the business?
And he gave a fist pump. He gave a fist pump. That's right.
Oh, it's so good.
That's from like the 90s, man, or maybe early 2000s. That was a long time ago. That's a good one. So Coach O's press conference after the game, sums up everything I felt, and it's so. This is why this stuff matters, and you could judge me for being pathetic all you want. I know who I am. Like I got emotional, and it meant something to me. This is a terrible season. This game meant something, and Coach O looked at the cameras when we asked about the penalty and the situation. He just said, "Look, we needed a break."
Yeah,
we needed a break. We needed something to go our way, and then we had to capitalize on it. And you know what? We did. Yeah, we did. And I literally first I internalized that when I heard it, and I thought, how many times this year, this week, I needed a break. I needed something to go my way one time, and it just felt good. It's a
big reason why this sport matters, why they played college football this season.
That's it.
It is very easy to just shut down and it's not safe. We're not going to do it.
It's why we do what we do.
Yes.
It's why we started doing what we do.
We don't have to be here doing this show together. No. But it matters, right? This as a show is a break from, I am working remotely from home.
That's right.
It is. I don't get to leave the house.
Those four walls that we're surrounded by. It's an escape. It's what sports has always been to us. For me, growing up without a dad, it was for most people with families, with normal families, it's how they bond. It's how they connect.
Yeah.
I didn't have that, but I looked to these men as father figures my entire life. I would rip the kidney out of my side for Les Miles. Because during a major important time of my life, developing from an immature man to a more mature man, he was one of the most influential people in my life. He doesn't know me. He's never met me. He has no clue the effect that he has on me.
No. And but it's not just you.
No,
there are other people.
Tons of people out there. I'm not unique to this situation. It's why this sport matters. It's why we argued and fought. Not that anybody listens, by the way, but argued and fought for why we had to have a sport. We had to have a season. We had to try to do this during a pandemic.
And not for buffoons like us.
No.
For the kids that are actually playing the game.
That's right.
They always get lost in the crossfire.
That's
right?
correct.
But you take away something that matters over something, even if it is for public safety. I mean, it's going to turn the other way for public safety, the other direction.
That's
mental health, all of this kind of stuff. It's a very major thing, and the mass media doesn't like to talk about it, but yeah, him talking about that, we just needed a break.
We just needed a break. That's when he said that,
and he probably did not mean it as this massive life story.
I'm sure.
Right?
I'm sure Coach O has no clue what he said to me. last night when he
was,
looked in that camera and he spoke to it.
It was a life lesson, but it was about his football team. But it's about people's personal lives as well.
It took me to a different place. We recapped that game in a very weird way. I cannot, but this is why it matters, because you can't just say, oh, well, Ohio State would have beaten them, because everybody in the world would have said LSU was a 23-point dog, and they were playing with 49 scholarship players and one senior that's a 31-year-old punter. Everybody else is nothing but freshmen.
Yeah.
A few sophomores, 0 juniors, 0 seniors. They don't belong in this game. They still found a way to win the game. It's why you have to compete.
Yes, 100%. Let's roll through this wrap.
Sorry,
this recap.
We'll go through the rest of them.
You're good. We are like 10 minutes into this already. Hadn't even started on a game.
I apologize.
We're going to fly through the games today because we'll deep dive on Tuesday, obviously. Auburn fires Gus Malzahn, and I'm going to tell you this. Him dancing in the locker room afterwards, it kind of felt like he had saved his job. And then, of course, Sunday morning, they get up, they announce the school has parted ways with him. They owe that man $21.75 million. And they owe him half of it.
50%.
In a check within 30 days of the firing.
That's right. By New Year's, that man is going to be paid.
You do not write that check unless you've already got your other guy lined up.
I've tried to tell people this all day today.
Oh, hold on. Can I do it, please?
Yeah, sure.
Is that Hugh Freeze's music?
Yeah.
Is that Hugh Freeze's music?
I am so tired of people arguing with me. Listen, I'm an easy person to argue with because I'll say crazy stuff and give you plenty of opportunity for fun back and forth, okay? And I'll go back and forth with you as much as the next guy. When I put my foot down and I definitively say something's going to happen, I'm going to tell you, I know the answer. There's no more arguing. Everything you're saying is just noise.
You're right.
I called this thing the last week of September, the first week of October. I said, Gus ain't going to make it. And this was when Gus won all those games.
Oh, yeah.
He won all those games.
Everybody knew, though.
But everybody knew it didn't matter. So I saw the dancing differently. I saw him knowing this is the last time I'll be with these men. And you know what? I really do love him. And when I saw those men dancing with him, I think they loved him as well. Yeah. I think he was a good coach. I think he was a really good coach. If I was a smaller program or a big boy program that wanted an OC that needed a second chance at life, I'd go get him. I'd go get him in a heartbeat. I would want him in my locker room.
I think that he is a good football mind because he thinks outside the box. He's a smart kid, man. A smart kid. Yeah, I'm talking about a man.
He's a grown-ass man.
He's a grown-ass man, and he, for sure, he beat Nick Saban 3 times. He's won the SEC West multiple times.
So I told you, and I don't think he's going to go here.
He was 30 seconds away from a national championship.
I would, I would, in a heartbeat, if I was Jim Harbaugh, pick up the phone and say, "Man, I got an offensive problem here at Michigan."
See, that's what I'm worried about.
And I got this other problem that's this big monster at Ohio State that's just sucking up all the oxygen. And I need somebody who can beat a monster because you have done it 3 times. I need to do it once, and we're gods.
That's a good way of looking at that. I was going to say, Gus has not had a lot of offensive success here lately.
He hasn't. It's not. But when he was an OC, he did. And I think he struggled being a head coach at a big school like Auburn where all the extra media boosters, everything, if he just got to go and immerse himself back in quarterbacks.
And just
he was really good at developing quarterbacks.
At scheming. He was really good at scheming.
So
yeah. So let's move on.
We'll go fast.
USC beats UCLA. The Cardiac Trojans come back in excruciating fashion for any of those that had UCLA +3 like us.
Both these dummies.
And that was still a good bet. It was the right way for the majority of the game.
56 minutes, 59 minutes and 20-something seconds. It was the right way.
It was painful to watch, but USC is 5-0, and that playoff predictor crap that ESPN throws up there saying that USC has a better chance to make the playoff than Clemson. What are we smoking? I mean, it's just unbelievable. North Carolina runs over Miami, 554 yards rushing. Mac Brown, once upon a time.
Never pick against a bitter old man.
Mac Brown, once upon a time, fired Manny Diaz.
That's right.
as his defensive coordinator for giving up 550 yards of rushing to BYU while they were at Texas.
Correct.
I don't know what Miami does at this point. I mean, they won a lot of games.
They won a lot of games against a lot of bad teams. Okay.
That's all we're saying. And now this one prop win that Clemson has, shine's kind of off that apple a little bit. So who knows?
So.
Oh, yeah. No, you called this.
If we're going to cover this game, if Clemson beats Notre Dame, shine's back on that apple. We're fine. They don't need Miami's terrible win.
Not anymore. No. They'll be fine. The playoff field has been whittled down enough that just winning you're in at this point. And it's like that for several people.
I did really enjoy this game a lot. I know you had Miami, and so I was trying.
Look!
I was trying to not stick it in too much, but man, I wasn't throwing too many jabs at you, but I was enjoying old man bitterness.
Oh, I can understand it. Look, I chalked that one up as an L in the first quarter.
Wait, you had to.
Like, it was done.
You had to. So, I literally sent our text to you saying, do I have to wait till the second half before we can take them out of the top 25? Like, can we realize that this is all farce?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I mean, they should have been out of the top 25 within the first.
Well, at least the top
minutes.
10.
Oh, yeah.
They probably should have been in the top 25 most of the time with only one loss. No good wins, but I'll give them the top 25.
Yeah.
But not the top 10.
I mean, Liberty wasn't in there with, But either way, it is what it is. All right, let's move into the games this week. There is one game on Thursday. It is not a good matchup. It is a makeup game. It is Louisiana Monroe and Troy. Troy opened a 25-point favorite, 58.5 the total. It's 7 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN3. You're going to have to watch the NFL if you want something fairly competitive because Troy is going to demolish these guys. The line, it's already up to 26. The total is already up to 60. I don't see this going any other way unless Troy is just done with the season.
I was going to say, there's a world in which these kids are just done. Nobody wants to play this game.
We're getting to that point.
Yep.
We are getting to that point. We are going to kind of fly through some of these. Moving on to the Friday game, we do have 3 championship games on Friday night, and we have a rivalry game on Friday night that's not for any kind of championship or anything else. It's just a rivalry game. We will start off with the CUSA Championship. UAB and Marshall, 7 p.m. Eastern time on CBS Sports Network. Marshall opened a 7-point favorite, total of 41.5. It is down to Marshall minus 5.5 with a total of 42. So the total has gone up. The line itself has gone down. I love UAB, but I do feel like people may be reacting a little too harshly to the last game that Marshall played.
100%.
I think Marshall is a substantially better team than UAB.
This is like watching both your kids fight. This is like watching both. All right, so let me put this in different perspective. This is like watching both my grandpas fight. Okay?
Yeah, that's
because I love these two men.
Doc Holliday and Bill Clark is who he's talking about.
Really love both these coaches so much. Doc Holliday's defense is just too good right now.
I think so. I think so.
Both of these are defensive guys. Now, the over-under is 42. It's pretty low for a college game. It will not surprise me if this is a 10-13 ball game.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I'll tell you this, both these coaches would be happy if it's a 10-13 ball game. If somebody hits a 20, somebody's going to be pissed off.
I'm going to bet that Marshall hits 20 because
Turnovers.
I think I think Grant Wells, the quarterback, is going to come out flinging that thing.
You think after all those interceptions?
After all those interceptions, I think that he had some.
If Doc's going to put the handcuffs on him after all those interceptions.
I don't think so. I think you win with what got you there, man. Like you got to.
That's
you got to
true.
play it.
That is true.
That's the way that it worked. Let's move on. Purdue and Indiana. 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Big Ten Network. Indiana opened an 11.5-point favorite, total of 55.5. It has come down. At the time that we were recording this, it is 10.5 in favor of Indiana. Total is down to 54.5. Purdue is not a good football team.
No, they are not.
I understand the rivalry aspect of it. We talked about this last week before the game got canceled. I still like Indiana in this spot. They are still playing for pride. They are playing for a New Year's Six Bowl. They are playing for big things.
They're playing for Tom Allen.
Purdue is only playing spoiler.
Yeah.
And I think that Indiana is a better defense. Purdue's not magically getting their quarterback back.
Nope.
This is just not a very good football team.
No.
So
with Plummer at the helm, they're just not. They don't scare anybody offensively. Indiana's way too good of a defense for a middling, struggling backup quarterback to just walk in and do anything special.
Yes.
It's just it's a bad situation for Purdue to end the season the way they're ending it. I think Indiana's players would die for that, man.
Oh, yeah. And they don't like Purdue.
So and they don't like Purdue. This is a rivalry game, so it's fun that we're getting this matchup.
Yes, it is. All right, moving on from there, the MAC championship, Ball State and Buffalo. Buffalo opens a 12-point favorite. This one's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. They get the big ESPN coverage on Friday night. Not bad. Total of 65.5. Look, Buffalo can put up points with the best of them. Ball State, obviously they made it to the championship game. They have played fairly well. The way that game ended last week against Western Michigan, with them running on the field while all the laterals are still going on and whatnot, that was all-time absurdness. Ball State is a good football team. There is a reason why they are double-digit underdogs here. The line has already gone out to Buffalo minus. Oh, no. It's back to 12.
No, it opened at 12, and it's 11.5 at a lot of places.
Yep, okay. It had gone up a little bit.
What are we missing?
Earlier.
What are we missing?
Ball State's a pretty good football team. I think that's what this is.
Are they a pretty good normal MAC football team?
The other side of this is Lance Leipold's name is being brought up with a lot of coaching searches.
Because they better be a hell of a football team to keep this within 10, 11 points of Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo has not
pretty good, ain't cutting that.
Yeah, they have destroyed basically everybody.
When I saw this under 17, because that's what I'd have made the line.
Yeah,
I thought, well, that's free.
So that's the other side of this. The game is this weekend.
My car note this month.
But is Lance Leipold going maybe to Illinois? We didn't talk about Lovie Smith.
No, that's right. No, his name is going to, rightfully so, come available. And is that going to affect the outcome of this game? That's okay. I didn't think of that because my brain's not in silly season yet because we're still playing football.
Exactly.
It doesn't get to silly season until after this week usually.
It's so weird.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a horse of a different color.
Yeah. So, I mean, we shall see, but
I'm still going to play it.
I still like Buffalo. If it's under 2 touchdowns, I'm all over.
I thought 3 scores to me.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. All right. Let's move on from there. The Pac-12 championship at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Fox, and this is an absolute sham.
This is a farce of a game.
Washington versus USC. USC opened a 6-point favorite, total of 58.5. Washington made it to this game with a 3-1 record because they had to cancel their game against Oregon last week.
They got COVID last week, and they immediately go to the championship game. If Oregon would have beaten them, if they would have played the game, Oregon beats them, Oregon goes. That makes all the sense in the world, right?
It's funny how that, but you can't make them forfeit.
No.
There's a way to do this correctly.
And you can't make fun of Dan Mullen for saying maybe we shouldn't have played the game.
Just saying. If Florida had caught COVID last week, they would still be ranked number 6 this week.
They would still be ranked number 6, and we would still be saying they have a really good shot if chaos ensues over else.
All they'd have to do is win, and they were in.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Yeah, we don't even have to worry about chaos. If Florida had beaten Alabama with only 1 loss, they were in the playoff. And it would not matter if they had 8 wins or 7 wins or 9 wins or whatever. Instead,
as long as they only got 1 loss and you're the SEC title champion, you go.
And now, if they beat Alabama, now they would need chaos. And even then,
oh, no. They're not big enough for chaos. Oh, no. They don't belong, Gary.
That's what everybody says. With 2 losses, you don't belong. And
we're going to put USC in.
And you lose to LSU
with 4 games.
You don't belong. All right, let's move into the Saturday slate. Starting off with the Big Ten Championship, Ohio State sits there with a 5-0 record. They were boosted on into that championship game last week when the Big Ten decided, we don't like our rules. We're going to switch them. We're going to let you in. It wouldn't have been any different had Ohio State gone and played Michigan and lost. They still would have gotten in. So we get all that side of it. We prefer
but it would
integrity.
It would have taken them out of the national championship, and so we don't know how that would have affected them going into this game. Also, they had 2 weeks to prepare for Northwestern because they didn't have to play a football game, and Northwestern had to play a rivalry game. So
yes. So either way, Northwestern
I'm not
against
bitter
Ohio
at
State.
all.
No. See, this isn't a bitterness thing. It's not that we hate one fan base or the other. It's nothing like that. It is.
I do hate one fan base, and I love the other. I'll say that.
That's
I am
totally
bitter.
fair.
I was sarcastic.
So here's the thing. We prefer ethics. We prefer integrity. Even if you were just blatantly obvious and upfront and whatever, even still, just stick to your word. Your word has to mean something. Why set the rules in the first place
If you're not going to follow.
if you're not going to follow?
No, I was raised by a very uneducated man. Time I was 12, my grandfather raised me. Didn't have a high school diploma. Came over here from Italy as a child. Couldn't speak English. And he taught me a few simple things in life. He's where I got this. As soon as you have a losing hand, you fold it.
Yeah.
Just no wasting time. Just throw it in the muck. You're done. Another thing he always taught me is just always do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Just very, very simple, very to the point. If you said you're going to do something, just do that. Just do that, right or wrong, good or bad, because it's better to be wrong, but everybody know that man does what he says he's going to do.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good rule to live by.
It's done well for me so far in life.
Yep. Very simple. So the spread here, Ohio State minus 19.5 to open, 58.5.
You ain't getting 19.5 now.
It's out to 21.
That's right.
Has it changed at all?
It's 20.5 most places.
Yeah, okay, that's
121.
switched up. Yeah.
But it's still, I think it's going up.
58.5 the total. So,
I got no opinion on the total. I have no feel.
I would likely roll the under. I think the Northwestern can slow them down a little bit. But here's the other side of this. I do think Northwestern can score on them some.
I think so too.
That's a tricky one.
I'm gonna tell you this. I'll be rolling Northwestern. It'll be pettiness. It'll be dislike. It'll be love for another school. But it will also be. I think this line is just about 5 points too big.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
I do believe this is the best defense that they will have played all year, and it
better than Indiana's.
Ain't close.
I agree. All right. I think we're both going to be siding on Northwestern here, especially if you can get 21.
Well, I think by the time we're picking on Tuesday night, I think you're getting 21. There's a chance we might be getting the hook.
I would like that.
I'm not going to be upset. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until close to game time.
Yep. Oh, I think
only going up.
Everybody's going to be all over Ohio State on this game. So if you like Northwestern, wait around.
I would wait.
The Big 12 championship game. This one is also. Oh, by the way, the Northwestern Ohio State one is on Fox at noon.
Big noon kickoff. Going head to head against the Big 12.
Yeah, the Big 12 championship game here is
they both are owned by Fox. Well, not owned by.
No. Well, this one's on ABC.
Well, I know that
ESPN versus Fox. But
they both have a Fox deal, and I'm surprised that Fox would be okay with that. But
it's a weird year. There's a lot of stuff that's being scheduled all over creation.
That's the understatement of the decade.
Yeah, it's a weird year. Oklahoma, a 4-point favorite at opening against Iowa State, 60.5 the total. It's out to 6.5.
Yes, sir.
Seems like a lot of points.
I thought so too. I thought this was going to be 4 is where I would have put it. I would have put it over a field goal, less than a touchdown.
I feel like Iowa State has improved as the season has gone on.
I do too.
And I feel like Oklahoma has also improved.
I completely agree.
But I don't know that Oklahoma is that much better than a team that already beat them by 7 earlier in the season. Like, I don't.
I will tell you, all the love in the world is going to pull in for Oklahoma.
I think you're right. Iowa State is not a mass public play.
No, sir.
This will be interesting. So keep your eye on that line. I think it's going to get over a touchdown. If it does,
I do too.
I'm swinging the other direction. So,
yes, sir.
Closing out the noon slate, and we are going to close out that part with Texas A&M and Tennessee. We won't spend long on this. Obviously, Tennessee looked a little bit better last week. I mean, they scored in the 40s. Harrison Bailey looked good, threw 2 touchdowns, 200 yards passing, 14 out of 18. The running game was okay against Vandy. It wasn't a whole lot to write home about, but I feel like they were trying to get their quarterback some work because they played 3 of them. Like, they did quite a bit. A&M needs this win. And it's not like Florida. Like, it's not like, we got a game next week, and that's the one that'll get us into the playoff.
That's right.
Like, this is Texas A&M's last game. It's their last chance to show something. I tend to think A&M is going to be able to handle this fairly easily because I wonder if Tennessee. So Harrison Bailey, the quarterback, still a true freshman. Like, he has not had a lot of playing experience. That A&M defense is vicious. They out there committing felonies every day.
That's like the difference between A&M's defense and Vanderbilt's defense is measured by the separation between Earth and Neptune.
Yes.
Okay. Like, it's not measurable by human metrics.
Chasms. That's a good word.
So it's just, I think Jimbo's gonna have a day.
Yes, I agree with that.
If there's ever a day that he needs Kellen Mond,
that's what I was going to say.
To be on, it's going to be Saturday.
Yes. It depends on, obviously, which version of Kellen Mond we get.
That's right.
In these kind of spots, he has been okay in years past. So I think that they will be fine. They will come out guns a-blazing. I would like to ride to A&M here. It's 13.5, 14, depending on the book. Whichever one.
I think it's going to hold at
a couple
just
touchdowns.
under 2 touchdowns.
And if it does,
as long as it's under 14,
on
I'm on them.
If it rolls up to 15 or whatever, I'm gonna have to think real hard. But I might still take them.
I'm about to say,
I might still take
them. I
them.
don't know if it's going to scare me, but I just won't like it.
Total is still sitting at 51.5. I'd probably play the under on that. It just depends on whether or not we think A&M can score.
I think A&M's going to score, but Pruitt could have something in line for him. He is a good defensive coach. I could see that. I don't feel great about picking over-unders all the time.
I've not had a lot of success in the last few weeks with them. I'll tell you that.
So yeah, I'm gonna just stay away.
Makes sense. All right, we are 31 minutes in, so let's move into the afternoon spot. And our first spot here, Air Force and Army, rounding out the Commander-in-Chief trophy. Army, an underdog at home by about 2 right now. It opened at 1, but it's out to about 2. The total is still sitting at 38.5. This one is on CBS Sports Network, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, Air Force has looked good in spots, right? And I think that they are probably the more talented team. I tend to trust Army more.
God, I do too.
However, it is kind of tough with Air Force sitting at home last week and Army having just played Navy. Now, they didn't have to put a whole lot into that Navy game.
Well, they did put a lot into it. It just was an ugly game.
It was
we kind of thought we were going to get an ugly game.
Oh, yeah. And I think we get another ugly game in this one.
Yeah, I do too.
Total of 38.5. Opening? I mean, even Army-Navy opened at 41 or 42 and got bet down.
Air Force's offense is better than both of these teams' offenses. Now, they don't usually play defenses this good, though.
That's true. This game last year was, 27, 24?
I was just about to say, this wing went into the 40s, probably into the 50s. That wouldn't surprise me to bust 38.5.
It does depend on which team decides to show up for Troy Calhoun and the boys over at Air Force.
Yeah, that's the issue. Is they have been
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah,
that's 100% what that is. So who knows? I know this. I will likely, if I do bet it,
if Air Force plays their best game, who do you like? Because it's a rivalry game. I think they're going to play their best game.
If Air Force plays their best game, I'd like Air Force
over Army.
Yeah, I trust Army more. But if you get the best version of Air Force...
Because I think you're going to get the best version of Air Force. That's the issue.
I think I likely stay away from it then.
Me too.
That makes sense.
Let's get to the best game of the weekend.
The best game of the weekend, and it's going to be on ESPN at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. That would be Louisiana and Coastal Carolina in the Sun Belt Championship. It's coming at you from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I actually think that's what Conway, South Carolina.
We didn't even plan that. I didn't even know what game was next, but I just knew this is the.
You
best.
knew this is the game.
I knew this is the best game of the weekend.
It most certainly is. Coastal, a 2.5-point favorite here. Total of 55.5. I take that back. Opened a 2.5-point favorite.
Yes,
total of 55.5.
3.5.
The total is down to 54.
Yep.
3.5 across the board for Coastal. Everybody hit that thing because Coastal had their scare last week against Troy. They did what they had to do to get by it. I think part of that might have been that they were already looking at Louisiana. Louisiana got to sit at home. They just got to do whatever, right? That's frustrating. But Coastal, I do like them at home on the teal field.
It's so hard to beat somebody twice.
It is.
That's the kick in the pants for this one. It is really hard to beat somebody who is on equal footing than you. Somebody who you're better than, you beat them 30, 40 times. It don't matter. Somebody who's on equal footing than you, it's really hard to beat them twice.
This is true. I still do like Coastal.
Oh,
I do.
yeah.
This is a massive game. I think that they have been kind of prepping for this one for a couple of weeks now.
So.
I think they've got a better football team than Louisiana.
Get one for Coach Jamie. Let's take this title.
I think we could take that thing home. Let's talk about your boys real quick. Ole Miss and LSU. Rivalry game. LSU coming off a massive, massive win. They are favored at home against the Rebels.
This is such a stupid line.
73.5 the total at opening. It's 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on the SEC network, by the way. It is now down from 2 down to 1.5. You can find some ones in a couple spots.
You can find a pick'em. You could find 1.5 pretty much.
Oh, I see a pick'em on Bet Online. Yeah. Total has gone from 73.5 up to 74.
That's right. What a stupid line. What was this line if Florida beats us by 14? We cover, but we get handled. What is this line?
Probably
Ole Miss
7.5.
by 2?
No. I think Ole Miss probably
heavily favored then.
Probably heavily favored.
Heavily favored. So I would have thinking around a field goal. You might be right.
There's
around
a reason that because of all the
we
scholarship.
were terrible.
Yeah,
we were terrible.
But in the scholarship or not reductions, but like
players.
that. Yeah.
We're the same guys that were there. The 49 that showed up in Florida are going to be the 49 at Baton Rouge.
Yes.
We're not growing anymore.
And now you've got the emotional letdown, or is it the confidence booster? Do they feel like they can compete now?
It's this Lane Train team got to sit at home another week, 2 weeks in a row. They're going to be itching to play.
Yeah, well, here's the question, right? How many guys are going to be out this week? Because they are the reason that the A&M game had to be canceled.
Yeah.
So who's going to be out for them? And we have no idea. We have no way of knowing.
Really wouldn't be upset if Elijah Moore came down with the COVID.
I ain't gonna.
I don't want to wish anything terrible on the guys, but it really wouldn't upset me.
I am telling you this.
This line is so stupid. When I saw that we were favored at all, I thought, well, this is the dumbest shit that we've done in a long time. This trash team all year. Now we're gonna close the season out favored against a team that I think is really good.
Yeah, Ole Miss is
really,
definitely good.
really good.
That's an 8. So the message board fodder is if Auburn doesn't get Hugh, which I don't know how they wouldn't, they are going to try and hire Lane Kiffin.
Oh, my God. Lane ain't leaving Ole Miss.
Could you imagine?
Lane, I'm telling you, I told you this when he got there. This is not a stepping stone job for him. This is a man that has been in the NFL and at USC. He's been at 2 of the biggest jobs in all of football. They don't get bigger than USC in its prime in the NFL. He understands the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Let me get somewhere. Let me put down some roots. Let's have some fun.
Oh, yeah.
There is zero reason why, if I was him, I would ever leave this job.
Yeah. Unless it's because you are consistently underdogs to not very good LSU teams, right?
Well,
and
yeah, but
that's where it could become a thing.
This is the word. I've said this before to Ole Miss fans and people who hate Ole Miss. This is the worst roster Lane's ever going to coach.
Yeah.
Ever. At his time at Oxford, the roster he has right now and what he's doing, this is the least amount of talent he's ever going to have.
I tend to agree with that.
So take that for what you think in the future. That doesn't mean he's just going to all of a sudden start rolling up SEC title games when they've never been to Atlanta in their life. But they are going to be competitive.
I am not going to touch this game.
Hell no.
Until I get more information out of Oxford.
If I could have gotten a 7, I'd have jumped on my boys just for fun.
Right now, sitting around to pick them 1, 2, not interested.
Knowing that nobody in my family listens to this, I'm really regretting agreeing to take my kids to do some Christmas stuff this weekend and not going down to Baton Rouge. We're sitting here right now, and all I keep thinking of is I bet I could get a ticket for $20-$30.
Oh yeah,
I bet I get a hotel room for less than $100.
Yes, 100% down in Louisiana for sure. All right, let's move on. We got 2 more in the afternoon. And let's start with the ACC championship game. This one at 4 p.m. Eastern time on ABC. I tend to think it will be insanely highly viewed.
Yeah, this is going to be this will be This probably is going to be the best game of the weekend.
Clemson, a 7-point favorite at opening against Notre Dame, 60.5 the total. Clemson is out to a 10.5-point favorite.
Yes, sir.
With a total of 61.5.
That's correct.
I do not see it.
God, I don't either.
Now, again, we hadn't been great at this over the past few weeks.
Oh, yeah. If you're a Clemson fan, you love the fact that I'm going to pick against you.
I feel like Notre Dame keeps this within 10. I feel like they may not win the game, but I feel like this is a game down to the wire. I think this is two insanely evenly matched teams.
They play different styles of football, but it matches up really well.
Yes. Yes, it really does.
I'm going to tell you this. Trevor Lawrence on this team, the amount of yardage, the amount of points goes down.
Yeah, compared to what DJ Uiagalelei did.
Because the game's just going to be a completely different game.
Notre Dame can still stop Etienne. They stop everybody.
This is the best. Between them and Northwestern, 1 and 1A, they're probably better than Northwestern on defense right now.
Yes,
this is the best defense in the country.
I think so.
Across the land.
Yes, I think so. It's
Ian Book.
Nuts.
Ian Book is on a tear lately.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a fun ball game. 10.5 points feels absurd.
I think it's insulting.
It really is.
7 I thought was fine. When it got over 2 scores, I thought I think this is a shot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking
I think
at
there's
these
a
lines.
lack of respect.
There's some spots where 10.5 is about to move to 11.
Yeah, you can see where the juice is. You can see where the vig is.
It's crazy to me. Crazy to me.
What do you think of the total? 61.5?
That just seems
the only way they bust this is if we get another OT game.
It was 30s. Busted. Like, this total would have been busted before they went to overtime last time.
Yes, but once again, I told you, Clemson ain't putting up 600 yards.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think the scoring goes way down on this one compared to the first matchup.
You might be
now,
right.
If we get into OT, all shit breaks loose, and it's just this thing could get up to 100 because they just score and score and score.
Venables is playing an offense that he has seen before.
He's already seen. That's what I'm telling you.
You've
got the best defensive mind in football going up against the best defense in football. I think the scoring from the first game goes down. I know that we all just assume plug Trevor in for the freshman, for the kid, and everything should go up. That's just not how this stuff plays out.
No, so these coaches will be a little more risk averse.
Oh, in this game it's the first game.
Than the first
one. Yes, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I think both teams were willing to throw haymakers in the first one because they knew it didn't matter.
Yeah, because they were going to get a second shot.
Yes.
I do.
Clemson was willing to throw haymakers because they had the kid and they thought, let's take a shot. We got nothing to lose.
Yeah, Notre Dame
was willing to because they were the dog to begin with, and let's just go.
I like it. I think I do
I like
the
under. I think this game is going to be way different. If we get into OT, I'm going to get scared to death. Having an under in an OT game just terrifies you.
Oh, 100%. Let's move on to the last one for the afternoon, the Mountain West Conference Championship game. Boise State opened an 8-point favorite, total of 54.5 against San Jose State. It's 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. It is now down to Boise State -7 with a total of 55. So the total has gone up. The line has gone down a little bit. I love San Jose State. I'm going to bet them in the spot. This is how weird this year is. San Jose State is hosting the Mountain West Championship game at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas, which is actually New Mexico's home stadium this season, which San Jose State from California is hosting the Mountain West Conference Championship game in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is the home of the New Mexico Lobos. Who knows?
That makes sense.
I like San Jose State.
I do too.
I don't know that they are talented enough to be able to keep up with this Boise State team, but I will tell you this.
I'm going to tell you this. I don't know they're not. Boise State has not been impressive.
I wonder if Harsin gets brought up for maybe that Arizona job. That's Boise State's head coach, by the way. His name was mentioned along with several others. We shall see. We shall see. Something crazy could go on there. Again, it's silly season, and we still have games. Who knows? Who knows? Things are going to get weird. The evening slate. I've got 4 games that I want to go over. We're going to roll through a couple of them. Michigan versus Iowa. Iowa is a 12.5-point favorite, 53.5 the total at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. That's now out to Iowa minus 13.5, and I do believe that will continue to grow as we go along. The juice is certainly pointing that direction. And the total of 53.5 still sitting right there. Michigan is going to be depleted roster-wise. Michigan has not looked good against anybody not named Minnesota. And I'm curious. I think Iowa is going to absolutely beat them to death.
Yeah, I do too.
And somehow this line is under 14.
Yeah, I think they're...
So it scares me a little bit because this feels like the Nebraska game all over
So these
again.
teams shouldn't be matched up, right?
No, this is the Big Ten.
They said they were supposed to do 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, and then they said, "Oh, we're not really going to do that. We're going to make matchups we want." I think this is punishment for Michigan
dropping out of the
Ohio State game.
Yeah, I think that might be it.
We're going to feed you to the hottest team that we believe in the West.
Yep. Now we'll see if they actually play, but who knows?
That would be the funniest thing if they just said,
if they said, "You know what?
We just won't play this game either."
Yeah, we're
Screw
out.
You.
We're out. We ain't doing this anymore. Next one up, the SEC championship game. Alabama against Florida. Alabama a 14-point favorite at opening, 71.5 the total. 71.5. And that wasn't even enough because the total is now up to 75.
I was just about to say it's 75.5 at Bet Online still.
8 p.m. Eastern time on CBS. Alabama is now a 17-point favorite.
Yep.
And I think it's going to keep going up. Florida losing last week. Yep. I don't think anything has changed between what the teams were.
No.
Right? The issue is the perception is that, Florida couldn't even hang with LSU and
It's
Alabama
terrible.
just beat LSU by 40.
Yep.
It's not really like that.
But that's the math that fans do. That's the math that people do in their head, and that's why lines come out the way they come out.
I believe that if this total is under 80, I'm probably going to take the over.
Yeah. Think so
and I
too.
also believe that this 17-point spread here should be closer to those 2 touchdowns. It should be maybe less than that.
So it's hard to argue Alabama less than anything more than 20 points.
Yeah, because they have murdered
because they've killed everybody. But I truly, before the LSU game, if these two teams, LSU, Florida, don't play last night, I honestly believe this is a 10-point game.
Yeah.
This is the one team that can hang with them. Ole Miss hung with them by scoring tit for tat, drive for drive all night long. And Florida is a lot more talented than Ole Miss.
Yes.
A lot more talented. Alabama's defense is way better now, but I don't know that they're so much better when it comes to playing a team. They haven't played a team close to this talent.
No, not even close. Now, here's the other side of this is Alabama's got 3 freshman defensive backs that played that at the time that they played Ole Miss.
Right. They were
green.
Freshmen. Yeah, they were super green.
And
now nobody's a freshman.
Ooh, that kid Malachi Moore is something else, boy.
Yeah, but nobody in the country can guard Pitts.
No. I agree.
Like there's no DB linebacker combo in the country.
Agreed.
That can guard Pitts.
Totally agree.
So that's the thing is you always have this security blanket in the back of your head if you're trash that, well, I know I can just throw it up to this monster.
Yep. No, you're right. You are right about that. Let's move on from there. I do like Florida plus the points here because I think that they were kind of looking ahead.
I'm curious to see where these points go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, most certainly. Most certainly. All right, let's move on. There's another championship game at the exact same time on ABC, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Tulsa and Cincinnati, the AAC championship game. The regular season matchup last weekend was canceled. So now they are doing the game at Cincinnati. It was supposed to be at Tulsa last week. That was the regular season game. It got canceled. Now the AAC title game is at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is, 7 in the AP poll?
Yeah.
Something like that.
They're 8. They've dropped to 8.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they're copying the CFB playoff or whatever. Yeah. They will be up to, I would imagine, number 7 this week because Iowa State will move up because Florida will move down.
Yeah, we got to think that they'll jump Florida.
So Cincinnati, still a shot, maybe, probably not. Probably not getting into the playoffs.
They're not getting.
They would need a whole lot of chaos, and they would need to beat Tulsa like a drum.
I don't think any of that happens.
I don't think so.
No, forget the chaos. I don't think it's not that it didn't happen. There's no world. There's no world in which Cincinnati would get in. Get an invite.
I think you're right.
Because they don't belong.
I'm with you. I do like Cincinnati. The only thing that scares me now is this 12.5 has ballooned out to 14.5. So Cincy now a 14.5 point favorite. The total 46.5 is now up to 47. Does Tulsa have any miracles left?
No, Tulsa didn't have any miracles left. The only way this over gets hit is if Cincinnati does it.
Yeah.
Tulsa ain't scoring.
Nope.
I would be curious to see what their team total is. If it's more than 14, I'd bet the under.
Ooh, that's not out yet, but we'll talk about that probably on Tuesday.
But that's where my brain is. I think Cincinnati's defense is really scary good.
No, that makes sense. Last game of the night for us that we're going to talk about. Let's go ahead and discuss our Colorado Buffaloes hosting the Oregon Ducks. Oregon, a 9-point favorite on the road in Boulder, 61.5 the total. It's 9 p.m. Eastern time on FS1. That number is down to 8.
Yep.
The 61.5 down to 61. Okay. I'll bite on this. Colorado did not look good against a team that is worse than Oregon last week.
Correct.
So even at home, I don't know how I could side with Colorado in this spot.
That's right.
It feels like if you go back and look at their schedule, it feels like they caught teams at the exact right time. I'm not saying that Colorado is fraudulent. I'm just saying this is not a good matchup for them.
Is there any world in which Mario's name being thrown about for jobs will affect this game at all?
No.
Because we don't think he's going to get that job, but his name is in.
What, for Auburn?
Yeah.
No, he will not be taking Auburn.
I know he won't be taking Auburn. Does it affect his team? Being talked about affect the team?
No.
I didn't think so.
His name was being talked about with Texas for like 3 weeks. Like
Which is ridiculous. What has he done here to justify an upgrade in a job?
He won the Pac-12 last year. He won the Rose Bowl.
All right.
He
okay.
led. How about that? This is the right answer. He has Oregon's 2 highest recruiting classes of all time already, and he's only been there for 3 seasons.
That's because Chip didn't recruit. Chip just out-schemed people.
Yeah.
Chip just.
That's what I'm saying.
At that point in time, Chip was just smarter than everybody else.
That's what I'm saying is he is going into California and getting kids that USC cannot get.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And it looks good because that's what a lot of these guys get hired for. It's recruiting, baby.
I know.
We all know about recruiting season down here in the South. So,
well, my guy's a recruiter. I get it. I understand. Here's the issue. My guy's a recruiter. Nobody in the country would hire Ed Orgeron right now for a job because he doesn't do anything to actually make the team better. He's the salesman. He's the face of the program. He's the CEO.
I bet there would be several that would have hired him after last season.
I don't think so.
I tend to disagree.
Well,
people look at things differently, man.
No big-time program. No Texas and calling Edward Orgeron.
No. But
anyway, that's just sorry.
Neither here nor there.
Digressed.
I do like Oregon. There's a lot of love for Colorado this week, but I think that they got bashed pretty good against Utah.
I know.
I would side Oregon here.
I don't like that.
This total of 61. I don't like the fact that it's 60s. I'd probably play the under.
I was about to say I think this is going to be probably low scoring, but maybe I'm wrong. Hell, I don't know.
Neither do I. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here again. Do yourself a favor. Go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. Make sure that you sign up for the Pick 6 contest because that thing is still rolling. sbrpicks.com/pick6. That's PICK and the number 6. Free to enter. You can pick college games and NFL games. We've got bowl videos coming up. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Go ahead and like this video for us. It's the little thumbs up button down there. We've had some of you ask questions about what that looks like. But go ahead and like the video. Knock that bad boy out. And we didn't get to all the games. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And you can hit us up and ask us whatever questions about whatever games you want, and we will respond to you. Is there anything else we need to hit?
That's it, brother.
Come on back on Tuesday. We are going to do some deep dives into these conference championship games. I cannot wait. Bowl season starts Saturday as well. We got all kind of stuff to talk about. Good gracious. So we will see you back here on Tuesday. But before we do that, let's go on and exit this the prim and proper way. For sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we will see you Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern.